Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, am I truly among the blessed? Not just in a material sense, but in the deepest, most sacred way. Are you walking in divine favor? Or are you just surviving day to day, hoping for a break that never seems to come? Most people never pause long enough to ask that question, let alone answer it. But deep down, something inside you already knows. You feel it. The emptiness when life feels routine, the silent ache when your efforts seem invisible. The quiet question behind your eyes. Why does it feel like others are advancing while I remain stuck? You're not alone in that feeling. And this moment, right now, might just be the invitation you didn't know your soul was waiting for. The divine favor is real. Feel. And it's not about luck or religion or being better than anyone else. It's about alignment. It's about becoming the kind of person who attracts blessing, breakthrough, and opportunity without chasing them. It's about being seen by something greater than you, acknowledged, trusted, empowered. The world has taught you to grind harder, to hustle louder, to prove your worth through noise. But favor doesn't respond to noise, it responds to heart, to humility, to unseen character and quiet strength. And the moment you realize that, everything begins to shift. This isn't just about inspiration. This is about awakening. Because the truth is, you were never meant to live a life of mere survival. You were built for impact, for significance, for divine favor that follows you not because of who you impress, but because of who you become. Because of who you be. Every struggle you faced, every disappointment, every delay, it wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you. Because favor doesn't fall randomly. It lands on those who are ready. And readiness doesn't mean perfection. It means posture. It means posture. It means your heart is open, your spirit is aligned, your life is willing. The powerful truth is you're closer than you think. Maybe you've been measuring blessing by what you can see, touch, or count. But the kind of favor that changes destinies begins inside. It starts in silence. It's formed in obedience, service, endurance, and trust. And the beauty of it is this: you don't have to chase it. You can attract it. The traits that draw divine favor are already within reach. And as you discover them, embrace them, and live them, your life begins to align with a force that opens doors no man can shut. So stay with this. Don't just scroll past or listen halfway. What comes next isn't hype, it's revelation. And if you're willing to receive it, if you dare to look inward and take action, something will shift. Your path will clear. Your strength will rise. And you'll realize that the favor you've been searching for has been searching for you, too. You're not forgotten. You're not behind. You're not behind. You are on the edge of becoming one of the blessed. Now is your time to find out what that really means. Favor doesn't fall by accident. It responds to alignment, to positioning, to the unseen posture of your heart. When you understand that favor isn't a mystery, but a response, something changes inside you. You stop waiting to be chosen. You stop envying those who seem ahead. You stop looking at others' blessings and asking, why not me? Instead, you begin to ask the question that actually leads to transformation. What am I becoming? Because divine favor is never about being lucky. It's about being ready. Favor finds the prepared. It locates the consistent. It searches out the faithful. And it rests on those who choose to live by principle, not pressure. This truth is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it reminds us that we're not entitled to favor. Empowering because it means we're not helpless without it. You don't have to fight for attention. You don't have to manipulate outcomes. You don't have to pretend, perform, or push your way into what was always meant to be drawn by your essence, not your effort. When your life lines up with truth, with love, with discipline, with trust, favor follows. It doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't have to be begged for. It comes. And when it comes, it brings peace, clarity, and supernatural ease to what once felt impossible. Impossible. Most people spend their lives asking for outcomes instead of asking for alignment. They pray for results without preparing the vessel. But divine favor can't land on what isn't stable. It doesn't reward motion. It rewards maturity. You may be moving fast, but are you rooted deep? Are you growing in the dark when no one's watching? Are you becoming someone that blessing can safely rest on without it breaking you? Because favor, when it comes before you're ready, doesn't elevate, it crushes. But when it finds you refined, surrendered, and focused, it lifts you to places you never imagined possible. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be willing. Willing to do the deep inner work, willing to ask hard questions, willing to let go of distractions that waste your strength. Willing to stop chasing what's popular and start living by what's powerful. Divine favor flows where there is purity, humility, purpose, and integrity. It's not a checklist. It's a way of being, a daily decision to become the kind of person heaven can trust. And the best news, you can start right now. This moment can mark the shift. The day you stopped chasing things outside of you and started cultivating the traits within you that draw everything you were created to walk in. You are not here by accident. You are not here by accident. Something brought you to this point, to this message, to this moment of clarity. Let it awaken something in you. Let it stir your spirit. Favor isn't far from you. It's waiting for who you're willing to become. And when you shift, the atmosphere around your life begins to shift too. The breakthrough begins inside. The alignment begins now. There is one trait that unlocks divine favor faster than almost anything else: obedience. Not shallow compliance or reluctant agreement, but radical, wholehearted obedience. The kind that says yes when it hurts. The kind that chooses the hard path when the easy one looks more appealing. This is the kind of obedience that heaven notices. Because it doesn't come from fear. It comes from trust. Obedience is not weakness, it's strength in its purest form. It's the ability to silence pride, override ego, and surrender your way for a higher way. And in that surrender, something powerful happens. You stop striving to control everything. You stop being driven by your own limited understanding. And you begin to walk in alignment with a force far greater than your intellect. This kind of obedience builds a foundation that can carry favor. It shows that you're not just chasing results, you're committed to the process. Obedience proves that your intentions are not temporary. They're rooted, steady, unshakable. And that matters, because favor doesn't visit the unstable. It doesn't rest on indecision. It seeks those who move with quiet, consistent conviction, even when no one applauds, even when the reward is not immediate. Radical obedience is not convenient, it's costly. It requires you to act even when it feels unfair. It asks you to stay the course when everything in you wants to quit. But the reward is beyond what you can imagine. Favor flows through obedience because obedience creates order. And order is the atmosphere where breakthrough can breathe. And most people hesitate at the edge of obedience. They wait for full clarity. They wait until it feels comfortable. But obedience isn't built on comfort. It's built on courage. The willingness to trust without all the answers. The readiness to act when all you have is a whisper inside. This is what separates the blessed from the bypassed. Not more talent, not better connections, but the quiet, relentless decision to say yes when others say maybe. And in that yes, doors begin to open. Resources align. Strength multiplies. Because favor follows movement. Faith-filled, obedient movement. And here's the deeper truth. Obedience doesn't just change your life. It changes your identity. Every time you obey, you become stronger. You build integrity. You silence fear. You reinforce your alignment with truth. Obedience builds spiritual muscle. And that inner strength becomes a magnet for blessing. Not because you earned it, but because you've proven you can carry it. That's why obedience matters. It trains your heart to lead your life. It tells heaven you're trustworthy. It signals that you're not chasing favor. You're becoming the kind of person favor chases. You have a choice. Every day, every moment, obedience is either cultivated or compromised. What you decide determines what you attract. If you want to live a life marked by favor, you can't live by feelings. You must live by conviction. Let obedience become your signal to the unseen. Let your yes echo louder than your fear. And watch how heaven responds. Obedience builds the foundation, but favor rests most powerfully where the heart learns to serve. A heart that serves without needing recognition, without craving validation, without keeping score. This is the kind of heart that draws divine attention. Serving is not weakness. It's not submission to people. It's surrender to purpose. It's choosing to lift others while you're still climbing. It's pouring out what you have even when you feel like it's not enough. And in that place of quiet generosity, something sacred begins to grow. Humility deepens, gratitude expands, and favor begins to move in ways that human effort could never manufacture. The world teaches you to lead, to win, to rise above, but the secret is this. Those who rise in favor often start by kneeling in service, not because they were forced, but because they chose to love without limits. Serving strips away pride, it clears out ego. It teaches your spirit to be still and your hands to stay open, and that openness becomes a magnet for breakthrough. When you serve without condition, without bitterness, without resentment, you position yourself to receive what cannot be earned, only entrusted. This kind of serving doesn't seek the spotlight. It doesn't demand applause. It flows from a place of inner fullness, not outer pressure. People who serve with pure motives create space for the miraculous. Because they're not driven by what they can get, they're anchored in who they are becoming. They understand that service isn't a task, it's a posture, a decision to be useful even when it feels unseen. And often, it's in those unseen moments that favor finds you, not on stages but in silence, not through applause but through alignment. Divine favor watches how you treat others when there's nothing to gain. It watches how you respond when no one's looking. That's where the weight of your character is revealed, and that's where your preparation for favor is tested. Serving unlocks connection. It softens hearts. It builds bridges where there once were walls. And more importantly, it frees you from the grip of self. The more you serve, the less power your insecurities have, the less influence your past mistakes hold, because service shifts your focus. It breaks cycles of self-centered thinking. It forces you to notice, to care, to act, and that act rewires your soul. It sharpens your awareness. It deepens your empathy. And it positions you as a vessel, not a victim. Favor flows to vessels, and vessels don't hoard, they pour. You have more to give than you think. Your hands were made to build, to bless, to lift. Your words were made to heal, not just to speak. Every day brings a chance to serve someone's need, to solve someone's problem, to be the answer to someone's prayer. When you live with that level of intention, you invite favor to walk with you. Because heaven always invests in those who are willing to serve, not for reward, not for recognition, but for love. And love never goes unnoticed. True service begins in the heart, but the strength to sustain it comes from purity. Purity not in image, but in the secret place, the private world. The parts of you no one sees. What happens in silence behind closed doors reveals who you truly are. And it is in that hidden space that favor is either cultivated or forfeited. Because divine favor doesn't rest on performance. It rests on purity. Not perfection, but authenticity, a clean conscience, a soul that doesn't have to fake wholeness. The kind of life that matches in the dark what it shows in the light. That kind of integrity is rare, but where it's found, favor flows like a river. Purity is the discipline of protecting your soul from slow decay. It's choosing honesty when lying would be easier. It's staying faithful when temptation whispers otherwise. It's guarding your thoughts, your motives, your choices, especially when there's no one to applaud or correct you, because in the unseen, you show heaven whether you're truly ready. Favor may look like a gift from the outside, but it's a test on the inside. It exposes the condition of the heart. If you chase the appearance of favor without the character to sustain it, what once lifted you will start to crush you. But when your purity runs deep, you become unshakable. You become trustworthy. You become the kind of person heaven can use. There is a quiet power in the person who has nothing to hide, a peace that cannot be imitated, a confidence that doesn't come from pride but from alignment. When your private life is clean, your public steps become bold. You stop second-guessing, you stop shrinking, you stop living in fear of being found out. That clarity becomes a weapon. It makes you sensitive to truth and immune to counterfeit. It frees you to rise without compromise, because what you build in purity, no man can take away. Purity sharpens your ability to discern. You begin to sense what is right, even when it's unpopular. You begin to walk away from what looks good, but costs too much. You begin to value your peace more than applause. And in that space of sacred discipline, you become a dwelling place for favor. Not because you've done everything right, but because you've chosen to keep your spirit clean. You've chosen wholeness over hustle, depth over display, obedience over shortcuts. And that choice, made over and over again, transforms you into someone who carries divine weight. What you do in private matters. Who you are when no one is watching determines what you can be trusted with when everyone is. Don't ignore that voice that nudges you toward higher ground. Don't silence that conviction that calls you deeper. Favor is not reserved for the flawless. It's reserved for the real. And real purity is not about living without mistakes. It's about refusing to let compromise become your normal. Choose purity, choose strength, and watch favor find you in the silence. Purity clears the path, but faith is what moves you forward. Not faith in ideas or dreams alone, but faith that walks, faith that acts, Faith that risks everything when there are no guarantees. Divine favor is not drawn to hesitation. It responds to boldness, a boldness rooted not in arrogance, but in trust. The kind of trust that says, even if I can't see the full picture, I will still move. This is where most people stop. They wait for clarity, for signs, for certainty. But favor often shows up after the step, not before it. Movement reveals belief. And belief in motion is what opens the floodgates of opportunity and breakthrough. Every time you delay action because of fear, you block favor. Every time you shrink back because of doubt, you resist what's trying to reach you. Faith isn't a feeling, it's a choice. It's the decision to go forward when nothing makes sense, to speak when silence would feel safer, to build when there's no blueprint, no applause, no promise of reward. And yet, that kind of faith pulls heaven into your situation. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've chosen not to be ruled by the unknown. Bold faith is not reckless. It's not noise. It's not drama. It's quiet, focused, relentless. It moves with conviction, not emotion. It does what needs to be done, even when the results aren't immediate. Because deep down, it knows that obedience and trust are never wasted. When you move in faith, you tell the atmosphere around you that you are available, and availability matters. Faith makes you available to favor. It makes you reachable. It makes you usable. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you must refuse to sit in fear while your purpose waits. There's something sacred about taking a step without seeing the ground beneath it. Something shifts when you stop waiting for the conditions to be perfect and stop moving because you were called. That shift realigns your entire life. Fear begins to lose its grip. Doubt begins to dissolve. You begin to see yourself as someone who can break limits, not live beneath them. And that new identity attracts new outcomes. You don't just hope for more, you become more. And divine favor recognizes that transformation. The breakthrough you're waiting for is often waiting for you to move. Not to impress, not to prove, but to act in alignment with what you know deep down is right. Your next level isn't unlocked by wishing, it's unlocked by walking. Let your steps declare your trust. Let your decisions reflect your faith. Favor doesn't sit with the passive, it runs with the brave. If you're willing to walk in the dark, you will find doors that others miss. And on the other side of that door is not just blessing, it's becoming. You don't need to see the whole way. Just take the next step. Favor will meet you there. Faith in motion moves mountains, but gratitude unlocks the atmosphere where those mountains begin to shift. Not gratitude after the breakthrough, but before. Before the answer comes, before the change arrives, before the evidence shows up. This is where most people hesitate. They wait to see it before they believe it. They wait for the gift before giving thanks. But divine favor is attracted to those who can say thank you in the waiting. Gratitude is the proof that you trust a bigger plan. It's the sound of a heart that chooses to believe something good is already on its way. And that belief creates momentum, emotional, spiritual, and even physical momentum that pulls possibility closer. Gratitude doesn't mean you ignore the pain. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means you choose to see the seed even when the harvest hasn't come. It means you decide to honor the process even when the progress feels invisible. That kind of perspective rewires your soul. It sharpens your focus. It keeps you from falling into despair or comparison. Because when you give thanks for what hasn't arrived, you train your spirit to believe it will. And belief makes room for blessing. There's a quiet authority in someone who can lift their head, square their shoulders, and give thanks in the middle of uncertainty. That person becomes unshakable. That person becomes unshakable. Not because they're denying reality, but because they're grounded in a truth deeper than circumstance. Gratitude becomes their anchor. It stabilizes their thoughts. It protects their peace. And in that peace, favor has room to breathe. Because favor doesn't rest in chaos. It rests where there is alignment, expectancy, and trust. Gratitude builds that space. It turns waiting rooms into birthing rooms. When you live with gratitude, you stop obsessing over what you lack. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's. You stop resenting what hasn't happened yet. And in that shift, you become more aware of what's already working in your favor. What's already growing, what's already being prepared behind the scenes. That awareness increases your capacity to receive, because favor doesn't land where there's bitterness. It lands where there's thankfulness. Thankfulness signals you are ready, that you can see with eyes of faith, that you can steward the next level with grace and maturity. Gratitude turns every moment into a chance to receive. It opens your heart. It humbles your pride. It keeps you grounded while you grow. If you want favor to follow you, don't just ask for more. Give thanks for what is. Speak life over what's coming. Expect good to find you. And choose every day to anchor yourself in that posture. It's not weakness, it's power. Gratitude changes everything. It lifts the heavy weight of waiting. It clears the fog of discouragement. And it becomes the voice that says, even now I believe. That voice moves heaven. That heart attracts favor. That mindset invites miracles. Gratitude opens the door, but discipline keeps it open. Discipline is the bridge between the life you dream of and the life you were designed to live. It's the proof that you're serious. Not just inspired, not just hopeful, but committed. Inspiration fades, emotion shifts, but discipline stays. It shows up when you don't feel like it. It follows through when no one's watching. It builds when results are invisible. And in that consistency, favor begins to flow. Because heaven doesn't bless potential alone, it blesses preparation. And preparation requires discipline. Without it, favor will slip through your hands the moment it arrives. Discipline is not punishment. It is alignment. It is choosing what matters most over what feels good now. It is protecting your purpose from being hijacked by distraction. The world is noisy. Every moment pulls at your focus, your energy, your peace. Discipline is what pushes back. It says no to what drains you so you can say yes to what builds you. It's what strengthens your character and multiplies your capacity. And the more you grow in discipline, the more favor can trust you with. And no favor can trust you with. Because favor is not just about receiving, it's about sustaining. And sustainability requires structure. Daily, quiet, deliberate structure. Every breakthrough you're believing for is connected to a habit you must build or a distraction you must break. Favor doesn't come to make you disciplined. It comes because you already are. It recognizes the effort no one claps for. It responds to the decisions made in silence, the early mornings, the focused evenings, the difficult choices to say no to what's convenient. Every act of discipline shapes your identity. It tells your future self, I'm willing to do what others won't, so I can carry what others can't. That mindset moves mountains. It opens doors. It separates you from the crowd. Because while many desire blessing, few are truly prepared for the weight of it. The disciplined don't always feel strong, but they are. Because strength isn't about emotion, it's about endurance. It's the ability to keep showing up, to keep doing the work, to keep trusting the process even when it's slow. And that kind of inner strength creates space for more. It attracts the kind of favor that doesn't just visit, it stays. Because it knows it has found a vessel that can carry it with humility, integrity, and consistency. You are not waiting on a miracle. The miracle is waiting on your structure, your systems, your commitment, your refusal to quit when progress is slow. Build the habits, protect your time, guard your energy, stay focused, because everything you're praying for is connected to what you're willing to consistently do. Discipline is not about pressure, it's about power. The quiet power that builds empires, transforms minds, and invites favor to flow without resistance. Let your life be ready. Let your habits align with your hope. And watch how quickly the doors begin to open. Discipline builds the structure, but humility is what keeps the structure standing. Man. Without humility, favor becomes a trap. Without humility, blessings turn into burdens. True humility is not weakness. It is quiet strength under control. It is knowing who you are without needing to prove it. It is walking in confidence without arrogance. It is being elevated without forgetting the ground you started from. And that posture attracts divine favor like nothing else. Because humility signals that your character is stronger than your platform. It tells heaven that power won't change your purpose. Pride repels what humility draws in. Pride speaks loudly and listens little. It builds images instead of identities. It becomes obsessed with recognition, addicted to applause, and blind to correction. And when favor rests on pride, it becomes unstable. But humility holds favor with grace. It stays grounded in the truth that everything gained can be lost if the heart forgets its source. Humility protects what favor brings. It safeguards you from sabotage, especially the kind that comes from within. The humble remain teachable. They do not resist growth, and they do not see correction as an attack. They welcome wisdom, even when it hurts. Because they understand that elevation without transformation is dangerous, they would rather be shaped in silence than celebrated in pride. And because of that inner posture, they are trusted with more. More favor, more reach, more impact. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking accurately. It is refusing to inflate your importance and instead focusing on the assignment. The truly humble don't chase titles. They carry responsibility. They do the work when no one sees. They don't need to be first as long as the mission succeeds. Their reward is not visibility, it is fruit. Humility lives with an open hand. It lets go of control. It releases the need to always be right. It steps back when necessary, and that surrender creates room for divine guidance, for wisdom to flow, for relationships to thrive, for favor to remain. When you walk in humility, you draw people in, not push them away. You become approachable, you become credible, you become someone whose life speaks louder than their words. And in that space, you begin to notice something sacred. Doors begin to open that you never knocked on. Opportunities find you. People honor you. Not because you demanded it, but because your spirit made space for it. Humility is magnetic. It reflects something deeper than success. It reflects alignment. Check your posture. Not the one people see, but the one you carry in private. Are you still teachable, still grateful, still aware that everything good is a gift, not a right? Keep that posture. Protect. Because favor isn't just about rising, it's about remaining. And only humility can keep you where discipline and faith have brought you. The higher you go, the lower your heart must stay. This is how favor not only finds you, but stays with you. Humility keeps the door open, but honor is what causes favor to multiply. Honor is the language of elevation. It's not just a gesture, it's a mindset, a way of seeing, a way of responding. When you learn to honor what others overlook, you begin to unlock what others never access. Honor draws favor because it reveals that you can value what doesn't belong to you yet. It shows that you can respect what you don't control. And in that posture, heaven begins to trust you with more. Because honor isn't about status, it's about heart. You cannot walk in lasting favor while dishonoring the very environments and people designed to develop you. Honor is not reserved for the powerful. It's shown in how you treat the unnoticed, how you speak when no one can promote you, how you think about those you disagree with. Honor silences entitlement. It kills the root of complaint. It changes how you serve, how you speak, and how you wait. Favor doesn't follow the loudest. It follows those who know how to carry themselves with grace, restraint, and respect. When you honor the present, you prepare for the future. Many miss what's next because they're too busy criticizing what is. But nothing multiplies in dishonor. A negative heart closes doors faster than lack ever will. Honor opens what effort cannot. It attracts mentors, resources, wisdom, and peace. And when you walk with honor consistently, people begin to trust you not just with information, but with influence. That trust is the seedbed of increase, because favor flows through relationships, and relationships thrive in honor. This mindset is rare because the world rewards sarcasm, rebellion, and self-promotion. But those who walk in divine favor do not follow the crowd. They live by principle. They understand that what you honor, you attract. What you dishonor, you push away. And when you carry a spirit of honor, even in places of limitation, your presence shifts the atmosphere. Doors begin to open. Conversations begin to change. You're remembered differently. You're invited where others are ignored. Not because you demanded space, but because you respected what others dismissed. Honor isn't just about words, it's about actions, about following through, about showing up with integrity, not just ambition, about doing the right thing when it's inconvenient. That level of character makes you trustworthy. And when you're trustworthy, favor finds you, even when you're not looking for it. You don't have to manipulate your way into opportunities. You just have to live with honor and watch how doors swing open without you forcing them. This is the kind of person favor is drawn to. Not perfect, but principled. Not loud, but consistent. Not entitled, but grateful. Honor every season. Honor every lesson. Honor every connection. Because when your life is rooted in honor, it begins to carry a fragrance that heaven recognizes. A signal that you are not only ready for more, you're able to carry it well. And that's when favor multiplies. Quietly, powerfully, without limits. Where there is honor, there is clarity. And where there is clarity, purpose becomes powerful. Divine favor is not poured out randomly. It flows where purpose is fully embraced. You were not placed here to simply exist. You were born with intention. You were crafted for impact. But purpose does not activate automatically. It responds to pursuit, to awareness, to alignment. Purpose is not a feeling. It's a decision to live deliberately, to rise above distraction, to stop chasing everything and start becoming someone. Favor surrounds the life that is moving with direction. When you align with purpose, favor begins to follow your steps like a shadow. Purpose gives you boundaries. It tells you what to say no to. It protects your energy from being wasted. It keeps you focused when everything else is pulling at your attention. When you live without purpose, life becomes random, reactionary, and exhausting. You try everything but build nothing. But when purpose becomes your compass, you stop chasing noise. You begin building legacy. Purpose makes your yes stronger and your no clearer. It pulls you out of passivity and into movement. And movement with intention activates favor in ways you've never seen. Purpose is not about titles or positions. It's about obedience to your unique design. It's about doing what you were made to do with courage, even when no one understands it. Purpose requires sacrifice. It will cost you comfort. It will stretch your faith. Nipple stretch your faith. It will call you to let go of what's good so you can walk into what's great. But that cost is always worth it. Because when you walk in purpose, your life starts to make sense. Peace increases. Clarity sharpens. Opportunities align. And favor responds. And there is no greater fulfillment than living in alignment with why you were created. It makes the hard seasons bearable. It gives your pain meaning. It turns every setback into strategy. Without purpose, you will question everything. With purpose, you can endure anything. That endurance makes you magnetic. People notice those who are grounded, those who are settled in who they are, those who no longer chase validation because they are walking in their assignment. That kind of clarity draws open doors, divine connections, and unstoppable grace. Your purpose is not lost. It's not waiting in the future. It's waiting for you to decide, to stop doubting, to stop delaying, to rise with intention, to build with vision, to live with discipline. Every day you ignore your purpose, you delay your favor. But every step you take toward your assignment is a step into more clarity, more strength, more impact, more peace. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You just need to be willing. Favor is drawn to the person who walks boldly in their calling, the one who refuses to drift, the one who builds with eternal focus, the one who says yes to purpose and never looks back. That is the path of the blessed. That is where divine favor flows. Purpose shapes the path, but faith fuels the journey. Faith is the invisible force that moves mountains, yet it begins with a single choice, to believe beyond what the eyes see and the mind understands. Faith is not blind optimism. It is deliberate trust. Trust that even when the road is unclear, there is a reason you are still standing. When challenges threaten to overwhelm, faith whispers that every obstacle is a setup for a greater breakthrough. It's the quiet confidence that no matter how hard the struggle, favor is working behind the scenes, preparing what you cannot yet grasp. Without faith, fear takes root. Doubt grows wild. Your vision shrinks under the weight of uncertainty, but faith expands your horizon. It gives you strength to persist when logic says quit. It transforms waiting into preparation and silence into opportunity. Faith is the lifeline that connects your present to your promise. It keeps your heart steady when storms rage. It allows you to stand firm even when everything inside wants to crumble. This kind of faith is magnetic. It attracts favor because it shows you believe in the unseen, and favor flows to those who believe before they receive. Faith requires courage, the courage to trust the process even when results are invisible. It demands patience, the ability to stay consistent and hopeful during seasons of delay. Most give up just before their breakthrough. They lose faith when their prayers seem unanswered, but the blessed hold on. They cling to the invisible thread, knowing that divine timing is perfect, even when human timing is not. This endurance in faith separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. It signals to the universe that you are ready for what you cannot yet see. Faith is not just about receiving, it's about surrendering control. It's letting go of the need to micromanage every detail and trusting that a higher power is orchestrating your life in ways you cannot comprehend. This surrender is not weakness, it is strength wrapped in humility. It frees you from anxiety and positions you to receive grace. When you relinquish control, you open space for favor to move freely. You stop fighting the current and start flowing with the tide. This is where transformation happens. The depth of your faith determines the size of your favor. Small faith invites small miracles. Bold faith unlocks monumental blessings. Imagine what happens when you move beyond doubt and step into unwavering belief. When you no longer ask, "Oh, what if?" but declare, "It is done." When you don't just hope for change, but expect it. That mindset rewires your brain, strengthens your resolve, and aligns your spirit with favor. Because favor is not just chance, it is the reward for faith in action. This kind of faith is cultivated daily, and it grows with every decision to trust instead of fear, to persist instead of quit, to believe instead of doubt. Faith is the seed. Discipline is the soil. Purpose is the sunlight. Together they create an environment where favor flourishes. So choose faith today. Stand firm. Believe fiercely. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of your trust. Favor flows to the faithful. Be one of them. Faith creates the foundation, but gratitude is the light that guides favor into every corner of your life. Gratitude is more than just saying a thank you. It is a way of seeing the world that transforms ordinary moments into sacred experiences. When you cultivate gratitude, you shift your focus from scarcity to abundance, from what is missing to what is present. This shift rewires your mind to expect good things, even in the midst of difficulty. Gratitude softens your heart and opens your eyes to the blessings already surrounding you, blessings too often overlooked. This awareness is powerful because it creates a magnet for more favor, more opportunity, and more joy. Living with gratitude rewires your brain to seek possibility instead of problems. It trains your spirit to see gifts wrapped in every challenge. This doesn't mean ignoring pain or hardship. It means choosing to acknowledge what is working, even while working through what is broken. This balance is essential because it prevents bitterness and fosters resilience. When you practice gratitude consistently, you become a vessel that carries light into dark places. People are drawn to that light, and favor cannot resist it. Gratitude also creates emotional momentum. Every time you pause to recognize a blessing, your heart expands. Your energy shifts from resistance to acceptance. Your mind becomes clearer, calmer, and more creative. This emotional shift is crucial because favor flows not just to effort, but to emotional states. Favor is drawn to those who operate from a place of joy, peace, and thankfulness rather than frustration, fear, or resentment. The more you cultivate gratitude, the more you elevate your frequency to a level where favor naturally gravitates. Moreover, gratitude humbles you. It reminds you that you are part of something bigger than yourself. It creates a sense of connection to the divine, to others, and to life itself. This connection breaks isolation and fills you with a sense of purpose and belonging. When you feel connected, you become more generous, more patient, and more loving. These qualities amplify favor because they create positive energy that reverberates beyond you. The law of attraction is real. What you put out, you get back. Your attitude puts out powerful, positive energy. Gratitude also rewires your response to setbacks. Instead of spiraling into despair or blame, you begin to see setbacks as lessons, as redirections, as part of your growth. This mindset reduces fear and increases your ability to persevere. Favor often appears when you have the strength to keep going, not just when the path is easy. Gratitude sustains that strength. It helps you find meaning in every step, even the hardest ones. If you want to live among the blessed, gratitude must become your daily practice. It must shape your thoughts, your words, your actions. It must be the lens through which you view your life. When you do this, you will begin to notice favor moving in ways you never expected. Doors will open, help will arrive, peace will settle, and your spirit will rise. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a way of life. Embrace it and watch how favor finds you again and again. Gratitude opens the door, but humility is what keeps favor flowing steadily. Humility is often misunderstood as weakness or low self-esteem, but true humility is the quiet strength of knowing your worth without needing to prove it. It is the courage to be vulnerable, to admit when you don't have all the answers, and to accept that you are part of a greater whole. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself. It is about thinking of yourself less. This shift creates space for favor because it invites grace to fill the gaps where pride once stood. Favor avoids arrogance, but it embraces humility with open arms. When you walk in humility, you stop competing for attention and start focusing on contribution. You listen more than you speak. You learn more than you teach. This posture makes you approachable, trustworthy, and wise beyond your years. Humility breaks down walls and builds bridges. It attracts allies instead of enemies. It positions you to receive insight, correction, and support, things that pride often blinds you to. Without humility, your growth is limited. With it, your potential expands exponentially. Humility also protects you from the trap of entitlement. When you feel entitled, you expect things to be given to you because of who you think you are, not because of who you are becoming. This attitude blocks favor. It closes doors before they even open. But humility reminds you that every blessing is a gift, not a right. It teaches gratitude at a deeper level and keeps your spirit soft and open. Favor flows naturally to those who accept it with humility, recognizing that every opportunity is part of a larger plan. Moreover, humility cultivates resilience. It allows you to accept failure without losing your sense of identity or purpose. Instead of falling into despair or defensiveness when things go wrong, humility encourages reflection and growth. It teaches you to ask, "What can I learn?" rather than, "Who is to blame?" This mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones. It keeps you moving forward with grace, even when the journey is hard. Favor follows those who persist with humility because they show they are ready to handle more. Humility is also deeply attractive because it reflects authenticity. People can sense when someone is real, grounded, and genuine. This authenticity builds trust and invites collaboration. Favor flows toward those who are not afraid to be themselves, imperfections and all. When you stop pretending to be perfect, you free yourself to grow, to connect, and to receive in ways you never imagined. Humility creates a fertile ground where favor can take root and thrive. To live among the blessed, humility must become your constant companion. It is the shield that guards your heart from pride and the key that unlocks new levels of favor. It invites grace, opens doors, and deepens relationships. When you embrace humility, you not only attract favor, you prepare yourself to carry it well. Pride pushes favor away, but humility pulls it closer. Choose humility and watch how your life shifts in powerful and unexpected ways. Favor belongs to the humble. Be one of them. Humility invites favor, but integrity is the foundation that makes it lasting, Integrity is the alignment between who you are, what you say, and what you do. It is the unwavering commitment to truth and authenticity, even when no one is watching. Integrity is the moral compass that guides your choices, actions, and relationships. When you operate with integrity, you become trustworthy, dependable, and honorable, qualities that attract not just temporary favor, but enduring blessings. Favor respects those who honor their word and live consistently with their values. Integrity builds a reputation that precedes you. It is the quiet power that opens doors and creates opportunities without begging or force. When people sense your integrity, they feel safe to invest in you, to trust your vision, and to support your journey. This trust is not given lightly. It is earned through consistent behavior over time. But once established, it becomes a magnet for divine favor because favor flows to those who maintain their character through both triumph and trial. Choosing integrity means standing firm, even when shortcuts tempt you. It means refusing to compromise your values for quick gain or easy approval. This kind of steadfastness may seem difficult at times, but it plants seeds for a harvest far greater than any immediate reward. Integrity is the promise you make to yourself to do what is right, even if it costs you something in the moment. Favor flows where there is emotional strength rooted in unshakable belief. The more you nurture your faith, the more you cultivate this powerful inner sanctuary. Faith also inspires action. It is not wishful thinking or passive hoping. It is active trust that motivates you to keep moving forward. Faith fuels discipline and courage, encouraging you to take risks aligned with your dreams. It silences the inner critic and replaces hesitation with determination. This movement is critical because favor often requires timing and readiness. When you combine faith with consistent action, you position yourself to receive blessings fully and quickly. Faith connects you to something greater than yourself, creating a profound sense of belonging and purpose. This connection nourishes your soul and empowers you to rise above fear and doubt. It reminds you that you are never alone, and that divine favor is not random, but intentional. It is a partnership, a dance between your belief and the universe's response. To be among the blessed, faith must be your daily companion. It must color your thoughts, influence your decisions, and fuel your persistence. When faith leads your life, favor becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Choose faith, hold it close, and watch how it transforms waiting into winning, uncertainty into opportunity, and effort into divine blessing. Faith calls favor, and favor answers without fail.